동기 도쟁의 송 또 이제 매시는 동기는 처음 듣는 다음에 예절교다 배도 맞죠. 예절 상회도 이게 내가 된제 경우 So, Book of Katamba, actually has a divided two main topic, which we one call father teaching and another called the son teaching. The father teaching, the both are actually it's a dialogue between Adisha, dialogue between father and Adisha that called the father teaching, and dialogue between Adisha and son that we call son teachings. And then who is the father is Dromdemba, one of the great Tibetan great disciple, main disciple of Adisha. So when Adisha, the Dromdemba, the father, he asked a question to Adisha, and Adisha replied those dialogues called father teaching. And then Kudun Sundu, one of the Dromdemba's disciple, they call son. So Kudun Sundu and I don't remember someone, that two, his main disciple, asked to Adisha about Dromdemba and some other questions. So therefore, asked by son, that son teaching, and asked by father Dromdemba, that's father teachings. And the name, can you show the name? Okay. So in Sanskrit, they call Bodhisattva Manivali, but Tibetans say Bodhisattva Mani Awali. So this translate from Tutinjimba. I just take it from there, and then in Tibetan we call Changsim Norbu Changwa. So Bodhisattva is Changsim, Mani is Norbu, jewel, and Vali is the mala, is Changwa, right? And then in English translate called Bodhisattva's jewel gardens. That's how what is the translation. This the root text of both father teaching and son teaching, and the father teaching within this both are like father teaching and son teaching, both are kind of like commentary on the Bodhisattva's jewel garden. Within these two main, I think the father teaching is the main commentary on it. It has 23 chapter, and jewel garden it has I think 28 stanzas. So, and then as a commentary, there are 23 chapter, and then son teaching has a 22 chapter. But we are more using that as commentary, that further teaching, which has 23 chapter. And then I think as composed by Adisha, then who is Adisha? The Adisha is one of the great Indian scholar who studied in a Vikramshila College, Vikramshila University in India. So until 29, he was not Buddhist. He just studied general. Actually, he born in West Bengal, the Bangladesh, the West Bengal, and around the 920 something. So that he born in king family. So, and until 29, he studies general knowledge, whatever general knowledge at the time in India, both spiritually and then general knowledge. And then when he was 29 years, I think he went to the Bodh Gaya. It has a Mahabodhi Society temple there. So he went to Bodh Gaya. Good morning. He went to Bodh Gaya, and then he became a Buddhist monk. And then continues studies, and then he became a very great scholar at that time. And then also he came to Tibet, invited by the one of the Tibetan. At the time, he's not really king. It's Lalama Changchuber and Shiwa. That's true. So they invite Adisha. They try many times, and then they have a very sad story there. You can see the beginning of Lamrim, or you can see the Adisha's biography. How we invite him in Tibet, and then after he came to Tibet, and then I think almost like a 12, 13 years spent time. He passed away in Tibet. So then he teaches those. Most famous, the book we have is Lemo Path, and also this the Jewel Garland, Bodhisattva's Jewel Garland is the one of the texts which he composed in Tibet. So so that is actually Adisha, and then what was he? Okay. So then now go back regarding teaching. The Bodhisattva's Jewel Garland, what the main topic in there? When I read it, I see both like the religious part and society value, both, the teaching on society things and society value, and teaching on religious value. The both we call what we call is Hache and Miche in Tibetan. Hache means is divine religious value, and Miche means like societal human value. That's two kind of main teaching there. So I see in this teaching, Bodhisattva's Jewel Garland, he taught both the part of the religious value and part of the societal value, human value. And then in general, what difference between these two, the religious, what we call divine religious value, and then societal, this Tubden Jimba translate that way, Niche and Hache, as I'm using it. So the Hache, he translated as divine religious value, and then Niche, he translated as societal human value. Okay, so these two teaching. What different is these two teaching is? So the divine religious value, all the Dharma things, which is teach or any practice, the main aim from next life, not this life, not too much focus in this life. Any teaching that, so the focus on next life, that we call the divine religious value. And then the societal human value teachings are focusing on this lifetime and not too much associated with the Dharma. So also the Tubden Jimba, I'm reading his, this is the main, and then I'm reading his English, better to understand. It says, divine religious values, since they pretend to one's faith in future lives. Is this pretend? P-E-R-T-A-I-N. Pretend, yeah. Pretend to one's faith in future life. Mature or societal value relate more especially to the well-beings and health of person in this life within the society. So these two different the meaning of these two different teachings, right? And but in Sunday class, I always try to talk about more refers with what called secular way that I'm using a lot of that what we call here societal human value. That's teachings are, and then of course the mind training, which is very suitable with this our daily life. So, and again, there are two different teaching. Also has many textbook composed there. So I don't have to mention the part of the religious value. There are a lot of texts there, right? Most of Kangyu Tengyu are, you know, the like a 108 volume Buddha's teaching, and then 233 volume of his commentary by Indian Pandit, and also the commentary by many commentary by the Tibetan scholar, and like some Mongolian scholar, and then Chinese scholar. There are many texts. Those are most of the texts related with the religious value. But there, that I don't have to mention what are there, because maybe you are familiar with it. So we can mention to what are the textbook related with societal human value, such as Nagarjuna has a 3 textbook. What he translated here is Sherab Gyaba. It's a one Tibetan name. It's translated in English, say 100 stanza on wisdom. 100 stanza on wisdom, that's one text. And second is Staff of Wisdom. That's another text. And then third one is Drop to Nourish a Person. These 3 teachings is only teach on societal value, human value. And then this is Indian Pandit. And then they have these 3 just because of composed by Nagarjuna, I mentioned it. There are more, which is composed by Indian scholar. You can find in Dhargey, you know, the Dhargey, the text, which commentary on Buddha's teaching, Dhargey, right? And from Tibet, also there are many textbooks there, talks about that societal human value. But the very famous one is Dromtenbos collected one teachings. Its name called the Garland of Essential Advice on Societal Value. This is very interesting. The Dromtenpa, he is very great Buddhist practitioner, and then his aim is totally Buddhahood. But same time, he talks a little bit different off to religious and then talk to societal value. So, and then it's very great advice there. And one other famous in our Tibetan society is Sakya Pandita's text. It says called The Jewel Treasure of Wise. So those texts are very much talks about that the societal human value. And it's so interesting. And Chanakya textbook there, which you can find in Dhargey. Chanakya, you know, the very famous in India, the earlier time, right? So he is the main advisor of King Ashoka, isn't it? King Ashoka and his fathers, Chandraguptas. Oh, no, Maurya Guptas, okay. Maurya something, okay, I don't remember this. But anyhow, the famous one, he's also advisor of Ashoka, King Ashoka. And then he talks a lot of that, how to maintain, how to take care of this country and the public. So that's also we counted the text is society of human value. Also, he talks a lot of revenge things in there, which is they translate in Tibet. You can find in Dhargey. Those are the texts of the societal human value, and therefore, this text I also see talks about the societal human value too, not only the religious part, right? So that's just to let you know. And then also little bit different, like these 2 teachings, the divine religious value, and then societal human value. Let's say divine, the religious value. It's more talks about that you give up this life, right? Just say shouldn't attach on any pleasure in this life. It's kind of give up. And then other texts, the societal human value talks, you should what called it's also talks too much emphasis to talks on how to take care of this life. So it's not never say you give up life. So how to maintain and how to deal with this life. That's talks it. And then also the other texts, the religious talks that whatever the teaching is not associated with the worldly activities, shouldn't be associated with the worldly activities, and the societal value must associate with the what called the worldly activities. You understand what worldly activities mean, right? Okay. That's one. If you look at the part of the religious practitioner, then the must any practice not associated with the worldly activities. And then the other ones is yes, it's too much. And then and also the religious, the value talks here, never ever harms to other, no matter what, right? Even you are right, never harms to other. So that's never lie, never kill, those things talks in divine religious value. And then societal human values say, okay, you can take revenge. You can lie sometime. And then also, but the skillful way, how you take revenge is skillful way, and how you success your business skillful way without, it's part of not harming there, but it's not too much emphasis, say never ever harms, as like a religious path said, right? So there are two different teachings there. Those are the just giving you example how goes the teachings, right? But when you look at there one of the things is completely contradictory, but it's not completely contradictory, right? There's two teachings, divine religious value and the societal human value are not completely contradictory. There's also depend on what your goal and what your aims. One of the Lama Tsongkhava's disciple called Chengawa Lodu Gyaltsen, he talks a lot about that these two teachings are not contradictory, right? And some others, like if you go to Lamrim or some other teaching, you might see completely contradictory, because the Lamrim, which is path for enlightenment, never ever associated with the worldly activities, and then you should give up, right? And the other hand, you should associate with the worldly activities. That's kind of two teaching that come contradictory, but also he mentioned that Chengao Ludigelsens. But in general, there are many scholars I accept they are not totally contradictory, conflict. Also, he more clarify on his teaching that how it's not contradictory and why it's not contradictory. It's very much depend on your aim. If your goal is nirvana or Buddhahood, then shouldn't be associated with any worldly activities. Or on the other hand, say any worldly idea to gaining happiness, those ideas never ever lead you have nirvana and Buddhahood. It's totally different, right? So that's the point, saying, okay, never associate with the worldly activities. If you look at the goal that your future life, rebirth higher realms, that could be like a what called This part of that, like associating each other and like supporting each other's. Like if your goal is the future of higher realms, that let's say the worldly activities, I'm not talking that they're doing everything what they wanted, right? So I'm talking about them based on their rule and regulations. They have some kind of modesty or what called courteous, right? The word more decent, courtesy. So those kind of things I'm talking there, right? So any idea and method being as a courtesy and modesty, gentle, and those ideas also brings you next life better. Because when you look at those ideas, still some kind of moral ethics there. Those moral ethics, which is like becoming more modesty and courteous, what's it? Courteous. Those same idea also benefit to have a future higher realms. So, and this is also still religious part, still Dharma. So that part, then we say Dharma and body activities, not contradictory, because the one method can help you both. So therefore, it's depend on your the goal.
So I see what you're saying, but if the goal is nirvana or Buddhahood, you still have to perform in the worldly realm. In the sense, you still have to do, you always are going to have some connection to worldly concerns. It's unavoidable at some point.
You shouldn't do worldly concern, yeah. Anything you do worldly concern, it's never leads you have those nirvana and Buddhahood.
So what I'm saying is, sometimes it's unavoidable to have. For example, if your house is breaking down, you still have to fix the house. That you can say is a worldly concern. But it still has to be done.
For achieving nirvana, then we don't have to rebuild it.
We don't have to?
Don't have to. Because look at the serious practitioner, look at the serious practitioner, they stay under the tree or some cave. They're not need fancy things or not really, as well as something that can protect from sun and the rain, that's enough. So there's satisfaction is their fundamental, right? So, and then also their fundamental is renunciation, which is give up everything, fancy things. So they're not necessarily build it up.
There's a saying which kind of helps with this. It says, chop before enlightenment, chop wood and fill water. After enlightenment, chop wood and fill water. What it's trying to say is that you still have to perform, even if you have enlightened. There's still certain worldly concerns and worldly activities you still have to fulfill. You cannot avoid it unless you're staying in a cave, and that's different. But very few people do that. So my question is, combining the worldly concern with the religious aim. It's easy to say, okay, let the house fall down and live in a cave, but that's not practical. So my question is then, how do you balance the two? Because even if a person is enlightened, he still has to perform worldly activities, and there is worldly contact. Worldly concerns are not going to go away at some level.
Yeah, when you say this is not practical, you might think based on worldly activities, right? Based on our experience, what we think is necessary. The practical is depend on also the practitioner. The practitioner, like a serious practitioner, like a Milarepa, he thinks practical is not too much spend time with these things. This is not practical in order to achieve nirvana, right? So, and if you look at the more detail about the path which is lead you nirvana and Buddhahood, everything is really not connected with our our daily activities. And anything daily activities is most of the time it's like they feel is wasting time. But of course, the practitioner, if they found a nice house, they will use it. but they were not only for spend time for nice house, right? When they have nice house, they will use it. If don't have, they will find something to, but they never give up the practice. So too much emphasis. That's the thing, see that like a renunciation, right? No attach. No attach, again, we're not saying that no use it, right? So renunciation is the fundamental of the path for nirvana and both Buddhahood. So if we look at the renunciation practice, then if you look at that way, which you pretend that I have a renunciation, then you will not necessarily see I have to have a great house. I have to have it be like a refrigerator and then what called laundry and those things. Not necessary there was not necessary, right? So yeah, but if you look at our daily knowledge, our perspective, then we might think, oh yeah, it's necessary, it's practical. Otherwise you are silly. Not staying in the house and just hanging around here and there is silly. That's we might see. It's based on our perspective, right? But if you look at who have a renunciation, their perspective is totally different than us. So therefore, say even we saying, right, if you do like a Dharma practice, doing prostration, meditation, offering, but which is associated with outwardly concerning this not training to Dharma, which just means like this not training to the cause for nirvana and Buddhahood. That's what it actually means, yeah. So therefore, it's clear. It's you have to abandon everything. You have to give up everything. But it means not using. If you have found the good food, you eat it, but not spend time to get this. Good house, you sit it, not spend time to get this. So that's a great practitioner. So we are in the middle or not close to the great practitioner, right? So it's with too much worries. So that's the saying. This never associated or never supported to achieve nirvana and Buddhahood. Yeah. But as your goal is future life, then it's combined both Dharma and body activities. Based on talking this life, the societal human value, I'm talking based on the having the moral ethics. You know, it's more modesty and courteous, right? Yeah. So okay, so those are teaching here both combined it that I saw it, but at the same time I try to talk what two differences are. And then if you're interested more, read about the book that societal value, human value, there are many texts there, right? And then it's also, the term is very good. And it also talks that don't be too much pride. You know, the don't be too much pride is secular. I think it's helpful for both believer or who believe to religion, who not believe to religion. The having pride is cause them problem. Not having pride is, so the holy activities also talks not too much have pride. So it's not saying you shouldn't have a pride. You should eliminate the pride, never say that. But the Dharma, you should eliminate the pride, right? But the holy, so as that text not say that you should completely eliminate the pride. You reduce the pride. You reduce the attachment. Or with attachment, you do this and that. So that kind of thing stops. I think those teachings are too much, very much suitable with the major, the people in this world. I think, at least that, their intention is too much harmful and interesting, too much harmful, then they might not listen that. Otherwise, as like a honest human beings, might be found very good help to gaining happiness in this life. You know, yeah. Okay.
Is it appropriate to say that while we are engaged in worldly activities but practicing the Dharma, that is still helping to do the best we can under the circumstances, so that in a future life we may have more of an opportunity to meet the Dharma, even though we're not 100% focused on the next life, we are partially focused. Is that appropriate? Is that
yeah, you can do that. So I think this teaching, the societal human value teachings are actually, you can take as a bridge to get Dharma practice better. Or the first step. It's okay, be a worldly beings, the social being, that's be there and do this and that for having like a successful your life. So it's a lot of included to reducing attachment and pride and so on, right? Even say take revenges. You can take revenges, but take revenges for gentle. Take revenges without anger. That's the saying. So if you follow that, automatically you are connecting to the Dharma, because that's one secular teaching, but it's also connected to Dharma that I see it. And then not just me, or the many scholars talks that way. So therefore, it's bridge. You can take as bridge to get, or first step of practice, then get to the Dharma practice. Or if you read this, it might brings you interesting to study and practice Dharma, the religious part. So therefore, it's not 100% conflict, right? And sometimes our mind and intentions more associated with the Dharma, but some part is associated with what is socialist, right? Some are too much associated with social human value, but some part Dharma. That could be go that way. So that's depend on how you practice in your daily life. In general, I see this is the first step to having interesting or seeing value of Dharma practice or getting to Dharma practice. This I say, right? Okay. So, so I think if you are like a leader of some kind of community or like a group, some group, or like say if you're president, reading that's like a social human value is a lot of help. It helps you to how to be a good leader and how can help. But still self-centeredness is there. It's not say that you reduce the self-centeredness. Attachment is there, anger is there, pride is there, but it's tell you how to be a good leader. To those are very good teachings for us, I think, right? It's not saying you have to be completely compassionate to being a good leader. Not saying that without compassionate. Still, you can do that. It said not too much share your secret to other. Dharma don't have any secret. But part of Tantra is different issue, but not really secret there, right? But in worldly, there's some secret to keep it important. They say never share your secret to others, and also said not too much close to your the relatives are, not too much far from your enemies are. That kind of teachings that talks on that societal human values teachings. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So it seems these texts are targeted more towards the lay people, and not towards
not the audience. Yeah, the audience are based on renunciation vows, but in general we say yes, it's not for audience. But still, the monks and nuns reading this is a lot of help. Yeah. Because direct applying Dharma practice is sometimes found is very difficult. We need to take time, need the energy more to doing this. But while we are getting the energy and those things, and still the life is going, right? Still we are connected with the other beings, and still in a society. So therefore, those are not difficult to apply your daily practice with the social human talks. So take it most easy, do it, and not stay hungry there. But same time, you get energy for develop more furthers. That's the monks and nuns do actually. Yeah. So, but it is not for audience. Yeah. Yes, that's true in general. Okay, so this is just general information about the text. What we're going to talk. Maybe it's text. It has only 28 stanza. Maybe it might take a few years. Because look at the commentary, which is further teaching is 23 chapter, and each chapter a lot of topic there, right? So yeah. Okay. So now here the text begin with the homage. You see the in text at the beginning mentioning the Indian Sanskrit name. What any text like a Kanjur and Tanjur, it has at the title it has a both in Sanskrit and in Tibetan. Always there. So unless the text composed by Tibetan scholar, they might not necessarily have this, but which we translate from India, Sanskrit, both main Buddha's sutra and its commentary. It's both, which is we translated from Sanskrit. Always titles comes for the both language, Sanskrit and Tibetan. Same here, the Sanskrit and Tibetan. So Adisha composed in Sanskrit, then it translated after that Adisha himself, and then one of his main disciples, I think Naksolo Sawa, they both translate this to Tibetan. Okay, why all this textbook, which is translated from Sanskrit, having title in both language? So because it shows that source is the Sanskrit, therefore title keep continues, keep the one of the Sanskrit name, always keep there, because it shows that this is source is the what is the source of this text. You know, that's the kings make it the rule. You have to be good there. So anything you translate from Sanskrit, you know. So and then not only that, understanding source, also build the respect to the translator who work hard to translate those texts into the Tibetan. So that's also reason to keep those two the title in both language. Okay, this is the reasoning. And now here take homage. The text actually is begin from homage. So homage to great compassion, homage to the teacher, and homage to the faith divinities. But I will skip that taking homage to the Lama teacher and taking homage to the what called divinities. Yeah, divinities is like they are Kadamba master they have the four great deities in their daily practice. Yeah, that's the translate. I skip that. And also I'm going to skip what is taking homage for master, because the Sunday class I think will goes with the try more secular, right? And these are the for a religious practitioner for who wants to achieve enlightenment and nirvana. This two is very important for them. Like a teacher and deities are very important. So therefore, they take homage for teacher and deities. And then why and who, that's I'm not going to cover this. But when you look at that, in general, the 99% text, the Buddhist text, at the beginning, always take homage. Always they take homage to their deities, to their gurus, and so on and so on. But it's might be interesting to knowing why we take homage at the beginning. Because I see whoever taking homage in the beginning, that's actually real scholar. Whoever composed this text is actually real scholar. And also I see there the scholar indicate with what called very honest, and also it's the ultimate great real scholar. That's what I see. The signification that I see is that taking homage at the beginning. What is it? Significances. Significances. Okay, significance. Yeah. Because taking homage to Guru and deities, it actually shows whatever I'm sharing you here in textbook, it's not my own knowledge. I received those knowledge from my Guru. I received those knowledge from deities. So that's actually shows. Therefore, they take the homage at the beginning as respecting, right? It's not saying that whatever I'm writing is just done by myself, not show up too much, right? With the pride. So therefore, I see it's like a very good significance that having actually is a great value of the composer, which be honest and no pride, and then also very much respected. That's yeah, I see it here. Again, because of that, they're taking homage. They say, "This is my source. This is my wisdom." Right? So, and then it, here not mention it. Also, there are many texts at the very beginning. Also, that mentioning, I do not know that much, but whatever I know, I want to share it. They always say that I do not know that much. Sometimes they say I know very little compared to my teachers. My teacher's knowledge as an ocean, but only I know the one drop of the oceans. That is my knowledge. Sometimes they say it at the very beginning. If here, today's generation, if we talk, this is silly, right? Well, so you are silly, then that's that things. But when you look at this tradition, I see very valuable. And then what called as we talked about that courtesy, right? Courtesy, yeah, it's very modesty and courtesy that I saw, like a very honest scholar, right? That's the just try to bring you the why we take homage at the beginning. It's some kind of shows that's interesting, and then as you know, if we can follow that way, it will be wonderful. Sometimes people might think, "Oh, you lying it," because you said you only know the one drop of the oceans, but where you talk a lot. And then this, whoever the scholar who composed the text who talks a lot in our the previous master and lamas are, then actually when we look at they know huge, but they always say that. And then the main reason what I mentioned is that reduce their pride, and then they shows whatever they're sharing with us, the wisdom without pride. And also, okay, anyhow, so that's we can look at, and then I tried to say, why is not lie then, right? Because they know huge by still saying this comparisons is comparing, right? If we compare with the omniscient mind, then we know nothing, right? It's very little Even we feel we know a lot, but compared with the omniscient mind, know nothing. Compared with the Buddha is nothing. It's just nothing, right? So therefore they're saying it's not lying. It's honest, and then also have a lot of good value that reducing pride and respecting teacher and telling source. And then this is the tradition. We have this tradition actually comes from India. The main we can take as this is the Buddhist tradition. So just they're taking homage to their guru and deities. Even we don't know who are the guru, who are the deities, but at least they're taking homage. We learn a lot, right? So that is interesting things. This I want to share to you. And but a little bit talks about the first one, taking homage to compassion. It's some kind of unique, right? So because usually when we do respect, when we take homage, or when we do prostration, always turn into someone there, the holy beings there, right? Some holy being or some great scholar, that kind of that object which we take in respect, which we take in homage. But most of the time, we're not taking homage in inner value beside the persons, not taking homage to wisdom or not taking homage to the compassion, not taking homage to your own intelligence, not respecting your own intelligence. In general, we don't do that. So, but it has a good meaning taking that homage. It's way beginning, Tuji Shimbola Chatlo, taking compassion. Also, Chandrakirti, one of his Madhyamika texts, also he does that at the way beginning. He takes homage to the compassion. And then it has a lot of good meaning on that. But part of understanding that, little bit go in our daily life. So in our daily life, we almost not respecting to our own intelligence and own warm-heartedness, right? Most of the time we respect to someone there, the second person, that all most of the time we respect it. So do you see almost there in our daily life? Did you ever respect your intelligence in your daily life? Sometimes you have a warm-heartedness, compassion. Did you ever respect to that? But actually, these are the we rely on, right? Whatever we learn from other, whatever we finding support from other, the main, we are any decision, any move forward based on our own intelligence, our inner quality. This is the which we rely too much, isn't it? We rely on our own intelligence. Actually, in practical way, do that way, right? Even like I say, we ask someone to idea, but there's sometimes the return is that idea don't like it. That means you're using your intelligence, right? And then sometimes you like it, but way you apply your own way to do it, it's your intelligence. And yes, even we ask to people, but the final decision we do our own based on our knowledge, based on our intelligence. That is which we rely too much. But what we rely too much, we're not that much respecting. But we respect the person, we not really rely too much on it. Like who share you this wisdom on this. We do very much respect that, right? You are a scholar, I respect too much. You are like a professor, I respect too much. And sometimes even like a little bit hesitate to talk to them, that much we respect to the professor and scholar, right? It's okay. I'm really like a small person, then it's okay to talk to them. That much discouraging. So in our daily life, we are respect that much to other person, but we're not really respect to which is very useful in our daily life, our own wisdom, our own intelligence, our own knowledges. We're not that much respecting it. So sometimes we might blame to our compassion, right? This be warm-heartedness to help other, but tenderness to lose. This silly. I be just silly, just angry to yourself, and very much disrespect to your own warm-heartedness and compassion or wisdom. Sometimes we turn that way. So, but one more time repeating, in the practical, we are rely on these things, our own knowledge, where we move forward in our daily life. But a lot of blame and criticize on it. So, but too much respect to others. That's one thing. But what we does respect in our own daily life, we might very much respect to our anger. We does that, and we very much respect to our attachment. We does that, right? So because it's necessary, important, I cannot lose it. It's a very good protector, and it's very good, helpful. It's very good, making good relationship. That must be complemented to our own attachment and anger, and very much respected, but not respect our intelligence and the warm-heartedness, empathy. We're not that much respected. And instead of respecting, we criticize that, but which is helping you, whether it's turned into good or not, but which is helping you, right? But which is not helping you, that anger and attachment, that we respect too much. So, but if we look at the inner value, in generally, we're not that much respecting our own inner value. Most of we respect to the others persons. So, but if we look at see the taking homage to compassion, that shows us you must respect your own compassion, our inner value, your knowledge, which is too much relying on our daily life. What do you think? Any further discussion on it?
It can also cause pride to develop if you do that.
Yeah, and then we think is pride is necessary. I just be a distinguished. I should make distinct with the person, and then you are all the behaviors just goes more what called. Okay, I don't have an English word then.
Geshe, I agree, because I think it's not like we don't take pride in our intelligence. We overdo in our culture. We overdo our pride in our intelligence, sort of without humility sometimes. So I think we swing the other direction.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, right? So yeah, what I try to say is you found the word when it means like when you make distinguish with the others, you're very much not talk that much, the face not smiling that much. What do you call?
Withdrawn.
Your own, when you're in the public, the projecting your reputation and wants to show that you are something special, and then you are not talking them that much, or
there's a word aloof in English which means kind of pridefully separate, like you
it could
stand
be, yeah,
apart quietly, but
that kind of thing is there.
Judging.
It's called aloof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a little bit negative.
Yeah.
It's not very. It's like quiet, but with a little bit of an arrogance to it.
Yeah, many people does that. Yeah, many people does that, and they think it is important to do that way. Yes, because the pride actually, right? But they are respect that much, and then in general, yeah, many people does that. Even like they are childish. They are like in their knowledge and their thoughts are like a childish, but they do this like a loop. Okay, so. And he's always mentioned that many times, and then he don't like that kind of pretending ways, like pretending as you're a great person, you don't like that. He teasing all the time, right? And just he talking like that. I think one of the Sunday class we talks a lot on it. So yeah.
One overuse of our intelligence that I have found since I started practicing and studying that I never realized before was in judgment. How little we really know when we judge. We always think we see a situation and we think we know everything about the situation, and we form an opinion of the situation in our minds, but we're almost always wrong.
Yeah, that's how it's turned, right?
You cannot know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can take that way farther into we don't even see reality correctly. But in a more simplistic term, let's just say you're having a conversation with someone. You think you know why they're saying what, but you don't.
Yeah.
And then you act on that because you're overconfident of your own knowledge, and then you create negative karma. And I was very unaware of how much I rely on my intelligence.
Oh, okay.
Beforehand, and my perspective is much humbler now, where I really try not to pretend I know anything about what other people are going through or how a situation got the way it is.
Yeah, that's nice actually. Yeah. So exactly Socrates said, the great knowledge what I have is I do not know anything, right? I know that what I don't know. That's good knowledge. Anyhow, so generally I see the two kind of they act like a children, but their inner value is very valuable, right? Their thought and their doing is a very valuable. But some people, on the other hand, this is that the inner thought is childish, but that act so much the aloof.
Aloof, it's a funny word. Yeah.
Okay, so act like that. And then yeah, few of my friends also, I talk to directly them, right? Few of my friends also they did not too much like playing and teasing each other, right? So and then but in the way to look at how surviving their life and how goes their life, just TV and video and just playing. That's how they spend time. Actually, they're childish, but they really don't like to teasing each other, not play. They think this act like children. They don't like to act like children, but actually they're children. Play game video. They are children actually.
They take it very seriously.
They take it very serious. But they're wasting all their life, the good, great times and everything. But they don't like to act like a child. They think this is too much annoying, some are there act like a child, but they never miss what they found the essence in their life. What the valuable in their life. They now miss that. That's actually doesn't matter the acting is, right? What is your thoughts in your daily life and what's your goal in your daily life? How you do in daily life is really depend. So therefore, act never shows that person is like children, So so anyhow, so this is in general how comes this topic is what I try to share that we almost not respecting our inside what we have, the value and knowledge, right? It's too much respect that. Taking homage shows that. So compassion shows that you must respect our own intelligence and whatever we have good qualities and knowledge, we should respect it. Instead of respect too much to those negative emotions. We does that, but it turns never good. That brings a not good result, but we too much respect it. But on the other hand, we are not respecting to our intelligence and value things. We are not. We talk a lot of humiliation opportunity, right? But we never respect it. It's okay. It's okay. Let me do first a revenge. So that's the actually, I think understanding this, taking homage to compassion, it shows us we really must to respect our own inner knowledge, or all this good quality and all this opportunity and pleasure what we have it. So that's one thing. And then another thing is taking homage to compassion is it's benefit always at the beginning time. That's how Chandrakirti said in his middle way. At the beginning time, compassion helps, in the middle, compassion helps, and in the end, when you get even you enlighten, compassion helps. So the compassion is help in the beginning and middle and end. Same in our daily life. Compassion is help in the beginning, compassion help in middle, compassion help in the end. So therefore, we should respect our empathy and some kind of warm heart. Good, and if you have a compassion, we must respect the compassion instead of respecting to anger, revenge, right? Instead of respecting for jealousy. So it's worth to respect to compassion because it brings you good result, and others not good result. That's also the meaning of taking homage to compassion, right? Okay, maybe today we just go this up to homage, right? And then from next we go the first stanza. Okay. Any question, discussion?
Do you recommend that we read the commentary before the class, or?
It's very good. It's
Before?
very good. Yeah, yeah. So to read the root text and then same time read the commentary. So I think like say this, here's a root text is discard all lingering doubt and strive with the dedication in your practice. I think it might take only these 2 lines to the next class, and then you read the commentary of these 2 lines.
The third chapter.
Actually, yeah.
Geshe,
Yes.
I am so sorry, but I chimed in late. Could you please tell me the name of the book and the commentary again so that I can be prepared next Sunday?
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. The book we call Book of Kadamba,
Okay.
and the root text is the Bodhisattva's Jewel Garland. You can find both root text and commentary in Book of Kadamba. And there are many extra there, which is beautiful.
If she's looking, just let her know that it's Kadam on the cover.
Oh,
Because
Book of Kadamba, okay.
Kadamba will always send you to
That's
the
true.
Kadamba teachings.
I see, okay.
I know the book. Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. Any other question? Who is fortunate travel?
Oh, that's me, Geshe, Richard.
Yeah, that's something. Any other questions?
Oh, you want a question? Sure. You talked mostly about the scope we normally call the first scope, which is fortunate rebirth. And you didn't mention until the very end the other 2 scopes of freedom from suffering in this life and happiness in this life, and then obviously Buddhahood. But clearly you're implying all 3 scopes when you talk about the benefits of these teachings, right?
Yeah, you can take this way. But really, it also is dependent on how you use the term. Maybe instead of scope, 3 scope, when you talk of 3 scope, our mind is immediately driven to the religious practice, right? So sometimes if you use the term that societal human value and divine religious value, there's 2 different teaching. So, and it's complete or not. That's how I taught it.
Yes, that's makes a lot of sense. But one of the things is that if you consider a fortunate rebirth, societal or a worldly concern. I mean, no one wants to be reborn in a hell realm. And yet you talk about, the advantages of pride, and something very strange you said is that it teaches you how to go about seeking revenge or how to lie if necessary. I think you implied to be a good leader or to negotiate or navigate worldly things,
Mhm.
and that seems very disturbing to me. I would, maybe I'm ideal, maybe other people have a different way of thinking of this, but in my ideal childish mind, I think, oh, it would be better to be a leader who never lies, and it would be better to be a leader who never uses, revenge and such. Yeah.
We don't expect it, especially this generation time, never expected that way. So that's we're saying, okay, never happening it, based on that, how to deal with it. That's the text talks. So, and then if you read maybe one of that book that I mentioned about regarding the societal human value, one of text, then you will see that is necessary or not, it's good or not.
I see. Which text do you mean?
I can say go back to the Sakya Pandita's text, like a treasure of wise, what called treasure of.
It's different. It's like a treasury of good advice, a treasury of good sayings.
Yeah, a treasure of good saying or treasure of wise.
Advice. Treasury of advice.
Yeah.
Advice.
Yeah.
Is that in the book of Tibetan wisdom?
Yes, it is there.
Okay.
You have that book?
Mentioned that before, yeah. Because
Yeah,
you mentioned
yeah.
that. So there's a book exactly.
The everyday
from
wisdom,
the
Tibetan everyday wisdom.
Robert Tibetan context, but it's called Everyday Tibetan Wisdom,
Yeah.
and it has a ton of advice for householders and lay practitioners and.
So
Exactly.
what about the Nagarjuna one? Understands that.
100 stanza of wisdom, this first, and second is staff of wisdom, STAFF.
But that, where can we get that?
I don't know it's translated to English or not. I am not know. And third book is called Drop to Nourish a Person.
That what I've seen translated under the title, A Drop of Nourishment for People. A drop of nourishment.
Yeah.
Is Nagarjuna's precious garland also?
It's a combination.
It's a combination.
The precious Garland is both, again, talks about the religious value and the social value both. Because it's actually talks to a king, right?
But letter to a friend also is.
Same. It's both combination. It's not totally the social just same as like here, the Bodhisattva Garland, Yoga's combinations. Yeah. So there, as a combination, I will use more like a social value things.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Yeah, everyday wisdom is actually good, right? The everyday wisdom, Tibetan everyday wisdom. That's how I said it.
Tibetan book of everyday wisdom.
Or Tibetan book of everyday wisdom,
Yes.
yeah. Same the classic Tudhijima's group,
Yes,
they
it's
translated,
yours.
yeah. It has a more that textbook there, which I not mentioned. I only mentioned two, which is composed by Dromdamba and Sakya Pandita. These two I mentioned it, and also more there. Yeah. And then Wilson, the Wilson translate the Water Shastra. It's also one of these, the societal's value text. See, never ending the read book. Yeah, so I read those all, but I not remember all exactly, but a lot of I read it. Yeah. Okay, any other question? Any question you have it? Okay. Okay, then we're going to stop here. And thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yeah, good.
Bye-bye.
Bye, bye.